Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of A Battle a Day. Like always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, if you've been enjoying these uploads. So as you may be aware, or may not be, depending on how your weekend went, Wolf Glick is the winner of the second ever Players Cup hosted by Play Pokemon. These are the tournaments that Play Pokemon has been running in lieu of not being able to do live events right now. So they're always super hype and you get some amazing like worlds level battles going. And if you haven't watched the best of 5 finals, or is it like best of 6? I think it would technically be best of 6 of Wolf Glick versus Davide Carrer. I highly recommend you do. Wolf was coming in from the loser's side of the bracket, and the finals for the Player Cup was a double elimination bracket. So that means that Wolf had to win basically the first set of best of 3. And then the second set of best of 3 in order to win the entire tournament. And even though I spoiled the entire result for you already, it is truly an incredible set. This was an open team sheet format, so you can see just how well prepared Wolf and Davide were for their matchup. So super, super hype. I'm going to stop talking about it so that way there's still some surprises going into the actual like watching for y'all. But if you want to check that out, I'll have a link down below to the Play Pokemon YouTube channel where you can find it. It's also on Twitch and on Periscope, if that's your thing. Anyways, what I want to do before we jump into our battle of the day is compare and contrast Wolf's winning team with Santi's team, who won the first Players Cup. Now, Santi is also a really incredible player. Santino Tarquino. I hope I said that right, Santi. I'm sorry if I didn't. And he published his team report back in September on Nimbasa City Post. So I'm going to refer to his team report there, which does have spreads and moves and thinking and all that, along with what you see on your screen here, which is the code that Wolf posted on his Twitter. It was shared throughout the Players Cup on the actual like live feed and stuff. So I haven't had a chance to go into this and like dissect any spreads or anything. I'm kind of hoping that Wolf and Aaron Trailer will put together a team report. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. If y'all are watching this, please understand. But I will say that the heckin' TV at the end of this team ID proves the entire thing is just hashtag storylines. Anyways, so let's talk about the star player on both these teams. Colossal. Now, I was honestly surprised that we saw a second weakness policy Colossal win Players Cup. I thought that people would have been maybe a little bit more prepared for it going into this tournament. Like, it won the first one. You would think that it would be at the back of your mind on the second one. But if I had to guess, people just weren't really thinking about it in the context of all the other legendary Pokemon that are really taking the stage right now. So the funny thing about this is that these Colossal appear to be identical. So the one that Santi run and the one that Wolf run. I will say that Santi's Colossal was max special attack, max speed. I don't see why Wolf wouldn't do that given the circumstances, but you know, worth calling out. Both have Heat Wave, Meteor Beam, Solar Beam, and both are paired with a Dragapult to possibly, and an Urshifu Rapid Strike form to possibly activate the weakness policy very early on in the game. I want to talk about the Urshifu first as well because just like the Colossal, as far as I can tell, they're identical. So there's Detect, which does the same exact thing as Protect, except your odds of getting imprisoned are much, much lower, so I highly recommend running Detect on a Pokemon if it gets it. Surging Strikes, Close Combat, and Aqua Jet. Again, both had Focus Sash. Santi's was max attack, max speed with 4 HP in terms of EV investments. I highly believe it's the same on Wolf's as well. Just very interesting. The Dragapult is where the team starts to differ. So, and I say that because the items are different and they have one different move each. So Breaking Swipe, Will-O-Wisp, and Surf are the 3 identical moves. Wait, did I say that right? No, actually, nope. I lied. So the Dragapult actually only have 2 similar moves, and that's going to be Breaking Swipe and Surf. Breaking Swipe to lower the attack of the opposing Pokemon by 1 stage each on the other side of the field. And then Surf in order to activate the weakness policy on Colossal. Santi's Dragapult, and I'm assuming Wolf's as well, was also max speed to ensure that you can outspeed the Colossal. So just, something to keep in mind there. Santi also had a no good IV in their special attack, so that ensures Surf won't do a ton of damage to the Colossal, and Breaking Swipe is a attack that you use not so much for damage anyways, though it's worth calling out its physical. So anyways, they both also had Light Screen, so we're really just nailing this analysis, honestly. But yeah, it's, this Dragapult is meant to defensively support the rest of the team. But, Wolf chose to run safety goggles on his Dragapult along with Will-O-Wisp, whereas Santi went for Braviary and Ally Switch. So looking at Wolf's team and looking at the one major Pokemon adjustment, the one major Pokemon adjustment that he made, Wolf decided to run Moltres with a Life Orb instead of the Togekiss with a Lumberry that Santi had on his team. And looking at Dragapult and looking at those Pokemon that are going to be dealing some super effective Dark-type damage to the Pokemon that Wolf would face, you really only have to worry about Urshifu Single Strike, and Air Slash from Moltres is usually enough to KO the Urshifu unless it has a Focus Sash, at which point you are able to potentially outspeed with Dragapult in Surf or Breaking Swipe and then not have to worry about it. Breaking Swipe would also lower the attack of an opposing Urshifu as well, so it's not as big of a concern as it was for Dragapult in Players' Cup 2 versus Players' Cup 1. The bringing of Will-O-Wisp over Ally Switch also further increases the odds of Dark-type Urshifu Single Strike just not being an issue. So I think that's super interesting, and I'm really excited to try that. Supportive Dragapult's been something that's been on a lot of people's minds ever since Players' Cup 1, and even before that, honestly, with light clay and screens on it. But this is the first time I've seen a Dragapult just tuned in a way that it does really, really nasty, attack reduction in addition to light screens. So I'm excited to try that. The Incineroar on both these teams are different. This Incineroar has Citrus Berry. Santi's had Assault Vest. The moves are almost the same except for Parting Shot over U-Turn on the Incineroar for Wolf's. He also has Taunt. So he's running Taunt and Parting Shot. Taunt being the best way to stop Trick Room Glastrier teams, totally understandable there. And Parting Shot, just a better U-turn in my opinion. Fake Out Flare Blitz are pretty standard for Incin. So just interesting adjustments here to better accommodate the metagame, and just another option to really cycle Intimidates, cycle Special Attack Drops, and otherwise weaken the damage output of your opponent's Pokemon. The Rillaboom on both teams are different as well. Because Incineroar is not running Assault Vest, the Assault Vest is actually given to the Rillaboom on Wolf's team, whereas the original team that Santi built had Choice Band for that Rillaboom. I'm going to go ahead and hide my face for a second so we can see that this Rillaboom knows Fake Out, Grassy Glide, U-Turn, Knockoff. Fake Out, U-Turn plus Fake Out, Parting Shot on the Incineroar means that you can actually, if you position this right, you can get constant Fake Out pressure on the field, which is a really important thing to have in a big game like this. It also gives you more options, so if your opponent has a team that Incineroar or Rillaboom doesn't match up well against, you can still bring the other and still have Fake Out as an option. Grassy Glide is just really good in grassy terrain. I think that's been pretty well explored on essentially the best Tapu Bulu out there. And Knockoff is just really nice to have. So again, going into this tournament, you had your opponent's team. You knew what items their Pokemon were holding. So if there was a weakness policy somewhere that you just didn't want to deal with, you have Rillaboom and you can just knock it off and then you're done. So I think that's a really good tech to have in these kind of tournaments. Not as helpful in best of 1 laddering because you don't know what the items are ahead of time, but in best of 3 closed team sheet tournaments, so just standard, you're going to an event IRL, you're playing best of 3, whatever, knockoff is also a really good thing to have. And last but not least, just that Moltres. It looks pretty standard. I'm going to assume that it's max special attack, max speed, or maybe max speed with some bulk, since I feel like with Fiery Wrath in particular, which is the best version of Rock Slide ever created, you need to have that like extra speed on your side. Nasty Plot is super good on it as well. I really like running Nasty Plot, Life Orb, Moltres. If you've been watching these videos on this channel, or maybe even watching my Twitch streams, you'll know that I've been running this kind of Moltres for a very long time, and it's just good. Like, that's it. It's just good. And Air Slash over Hurricane is also pretty awesome as well. So we're going to go ahead and jump into a battle with this game. I hope you enjoyed that compare and contrast. It was really just off the top of my head. Maybe once Wolf publishes an actual team report with spreads and everything, we can do a bit of a deeper dive. But I always find it interesting to see where people get inspiration from, see how they change teams to maybe fit their play style a little bit better. So I hope you did too. So we're going to jump into today's game. Good luck, have fun. Oh, Junpei. Okay. And Junpei is running a Pincurchin team, so yeah, that's happening apparently. I think I'm gonna bring Rillaboom to this matchup. And then, so I'm leaning Dragapult Colossal just to try it out. I don't necessarily think this is the best lead I could bring, but I'm excited for it, so that's how we make it work here. Rillaboom in the back for Fake Out support, plus Grassy Glide and Grassy Terrain. I really don't want Pincurchin to get Electric Terrain up. I'm not really sure what it's going to do with it, but I don't think I'm going to like it. Actually, if I lead in Sin, I can taunt the Comfey before you can trigger him. So actually, let's do that. Let's lead Urshifu Incineroar, and then have Colossal Rillaboom in the back. I have no idea if this is going to work, by the way. But looking at his team, and admittedly, I might have just set myself up for like a nasty Defiant boost on that Braviary. But looking at this team, the Comfey and the Chandelure are the two Trick Room targets. Pincurchin is a huge indication, in my opinion, that your opponent is at least interested in running Trick Room. Maybe they're not going to commit to it with this team, but I see a really interesting interaction with Pincurchin and Lanturn. Lanturn getting access to Volt Absorb, Pincurchin being one of the slowest Pokemon in the metagame. So if my opponent Junpei wanted to, he could set up Trick Room and then get Pincurchin and Lanturn on the field, and then use like a Discharge or something to keep Lanturn healthy and really just ruin my day. So I have to lead my anti-Trick Room option, and fortunately my opponent didn't call it. Instead, they're leading their Lapras and their Chandelure. So our first turn is going to be something like a close combat, I think, into the Lapras, and then a taunt into the Chandelure. Though, now that I'm like saying this, another option that we could do that might actually be better long term. Yeah, you know what? Let's try it. We're going to Parting Shot the Lapras, and then we're going to go for Surging Strikes into the Chandelure. Surging Strikes with 3 hits and 3 critical hits should ensure that we're able to pick up the KO on the Chandelure without too much chaos. I don't know. I would assume this would do enough damage because it's a Chandelure and they're not really known to be physically bulky. But I have honestly primarily been running the Dark type Urshifu. I really like it. So this is my first time with Rapid Strike form. Or my opponent could just ally switch and water absorb my attacks. I mean, that's fine too. All right, well, okay, we might have to think this through a little bit. That's that was good. That was good. That was a pretty good lead. The question is now, though, do I send in Colossal? I don't think I can, because their Lapras hasn't attacked yet. And if the Lapras goes for Max Geyser into the Incineroar slot, then it would just be like, game over. Alright. That would have been funny, though. Yep. Okay, yeah, that would have been game over. Good job, Gabby. Good job. High five. All right. So, I think we go for a knockoff into the Chandelure, and we go for another Surging Strikes into the Lapras at this point. If he ally switches again, then we get our targeting right, and we potentially get rid of a weakness policy on the Chandelure. If not, we still do super effective damage to it, so. But they always ally switch twice. So we're fine. And we have the Rain Boost now as well, so this should definitely... Yeah. Cool story, bro. Oh, that was beautiful. That was so beautiful. I mean, I knew it was going to KO, but I don't think I expected it to deal that much damage, all things considered. And we have gotten rid of the weakness policy on Lapras as well. Unfortunately, that does come at the cost of my opponent using Gmax Resonance and getting both a Light Screen and a Reflect Up, and I don't have Brick Break on this team, so it's just something we're going to have to deal with. But more importantly than anything else, we can safely go for a large close combat into that Lapras and be fine. So if my opponent sends in Comfey, I have to assume that it has Ally Switch, and it will Ally Switch. So that's something that we should be careful of, but I don't think they're going to Ally Switch like that, right? Who am I kidding? This is Pokemon. We'll just have to wait to see what Pokemon they decide to send out into the field. Taking a while there, buddy. Is this a... Are you there? Are you still there? Are we gonna drop? Because I feel like... Okay, no, we're not gonna drop. I was playing a little bit over the weekend, just on my own kind of thing, and I had someone just kind of like time out like that, and I was like, that's nice. Anyways, it looks like we do see the Comfey, so we have to acknowledge the threat of an ally switch again. That being said, I'm going to actually Grassy Glide the Lapras slot, so that way we can still get some damage down on this Comfey if we don't see it, but we do. They always ally switch 3 times. Always. This way Comfey is at least a little bit closer to knockout. Not a lot, but a little, you know, just a smidge. And when we do start getting the Colossal setup, which will be happening this turn as Rillaboom did just get knocked out, we will have the opportunity to, I think, threaten KO on both of these Pokemon with Rockfall. Not 100% on that one, but hopefully. So, gonna go ahead, send the big boy in. Do I proc my own weakness policy now? That is a good question. I definitely want to go for... Yeah, I think we proc our own weakness policy, and then we get the speed boost as well. It's worth noting that we're just going to predict ally switch 4 times. It's also worth noting that with Steam Engine especially, usually Colossals are invested max speed, but I don't know. I feel like this is Wolf. I want to assume there's some bulk on this thing somewhere. I guess I could check the stat numbers real quick. Nah. That's Fuchsia Gabby's problem. Who knows their spreads before they play with the team, am I right? Certainly not anybody who wins big tournaments. That would be silly. But yeah, I'm hoping that even though we are activating our own weakness policy, and even though I might have predicted poorly, since I'm pretty sure I targeted the Comfey slot with the Gmax Vocalith, we can still... Okay, that was a horrible idea, and we're never going to do it again. That was literally half of my health with Dynamax. Okay, yeah, I want to blame it on the rain, but let's be real. This is also an Urshifu. This is probably not meant to be the primary way you handle these situations, and I completely played into it. So now that that's gone horribly wrong, we're going to get KO'd by Surf, and we're going to be fine. Oh my god. That was so dumb. Alright. Or no, it wasn't dumb. It was just, I didn't know. I didn't know. I read something recently that it was basically making the argument that you should try and take like "that's so dumb" or variants on that phrase out of your vocabulary, because it just doesn't really help you much in terms of like how you look at a situation, or maybe I don't know, like your mental positive feedback loop. So I've been trying really hard to remove that personally from my lexicon. So I'm going to call myself out on these videos when I say that, because it's like one of my go-to phrases about Pokemon, and I don't think it should be that way. I don't know. Anyways, we're faking out the Pincurchin. I don't trust it. And then we're going for a close combat into the Lapras. Now, this is unfortunately going to like guarantee, I think, the knockout on the Urshifu. And maybe there would have been a better way to handle this overall with the team. But knowing that my opponent went for Protect on Lapras, and that we're going to be able to break through Protect thanks to Unseen Fist, yeah, we're fine. We're fine. I'm pretty sure Incineroar can 1v1 Pincurchin, even in like the worst of situations. So that all being said, though, I don't know if I want Urshifu to go for yet another close combat, especially since the residual damage from Gmax Volcalith was enough to pick up the KO on Lapras. So I think what we do is we go for Flare Blitz and Surging Strikes. Alternatively, we could go for a Parting Shot. But I don't think we necessarily need that. Incineroar is bulky enough that we can take a few hits from this Pincurchin. Something I just noticed until now as well is that this Pincurchin wasn't running Electric Terrain. So that's really interesting to me. Maybe it's like double Volt Absorb. I'm pretty sure Pincurchin gets Volt Absorb. I can double check that while we're waiting for this turn to play out. Because, you know, 3 hits takes a while to animate. Just a little bit. Just a teeny little bit. Lightning Rod. Okay. Lightning Rod. So yeah, maybe my opponent's strategy was going for like Lightning Rod, Volt Absorb, Pincurchin, Lanturn, Discharge. That would be pretty disgusting, and it would work if you're given the opportunity to set it up. It just seems like a lot to ask for on a team that didn't seem to feel comfortable when playing Trick Room. I mean, my opponent just ally switched like 4 times, and because I was able to protect, well, they did it 3 times, but I predicted 4 and it worked out. But anyways, like, because they used ally switch so much, I think they lost a lot of the momentum that they had going into that game, potentially. And I was just able to keep doing damage, and they couldn't keep up. So if you're running ally switch, just please keep that in mind. Every turn you ally switch is a turn that Pokemon's not dealing damage or otherwise setting stuff up on the field. You just have to be very careful and ensure that you're still setting yourself up for success despite, you know, redirecting stuff. You still need to keep offensive pressure. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of a different format, but the opportunity to compare and contrast 2 Player Cup winning teams was just too good. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you liked this video, please let me know down in the comments below. Also, make sure to like it. I know that it's annoying to hear every YouTuber say that, but it really does help. And, you know, praise the algorithm and all that fun stuff. I will be back with my next video on Wednesday showcasing more of this team. So until then, I'll see you later. Have a great day, everybody.